Run ahead of it. Bergkamp suddenly changed pace through the centre. It's Bergkamp. That's magnificent. The move, and then this, which left Dabby's ass totally stranded.
Hello and welcome to Bergkamp Maitland-Niles podcast. You know what it was? I was watching the YouTube one instead of the flipping this one, instead of the streamcast. That was my problem. See, clearly we're off to a good start straight away. Hello everyone, my name's Karl, and this is going to be one of those shows where probably things are going to go wrong. But at least we turn up, didn't we, gentlemen? Because Danny is decided to be lazy and not decide to podcast. He's moaning, no, I've done 12 podcasts in a row. It's your fucking show, Danny. You're supposed to do 12 podcasts. Josh is busy whoring himself out to the hybrid squad. Chris is probably doing his hair, and everyone else is just... John is probably being a whore, to be honest. But, you know, we move. But today we have Femi. Hello, Femi, the voice of reason. How are you doing?
A voice of reason. I don't know about that. I've wanted to jump off a cliff a few times, but yeah, no, all good, all good. I'm just on double duty, watching the games that are going on in the background. But yeah, no, all good. Ready to talk Arsenal.
Good, good. And Richard, how are you, sir?
Not too bad, my man. Not too bad. Tired from work, but you know, it's still willing to give it a go. How are you? How are you doing?
When Arsenal win, it puts me in a better mood. So. You know, we will crack on. We're going to talk about the win over West Ham, which I will be very honest, as pessimistic as I am, or optimistic sometimes, I didn't think we'd win this game. I'm going to be very honest, just because West Ham are playing very well lately, and I knew they'd have one eye on their Europa League semi-final. However, something in the back of my mind just thought Arsenal would think that West Ham would take it easy and play some kids. And West Ham went kind of full strength, didn't they? Apart from not playing Antonio. I mean, Femi, when you saw the West Ham team sheet, what did you think?
Obviously, I'd listened to like David Moyes' press conference and, you know, all sorts of rumors throughout the week saying, you know, they're going to rest players and whatnot. And Moyes was talking about, well, he can't put too many youngsters in and all of that kind of stuff. So that's when the alarm bell started thinking, maybe he's not going to arrest as many players. But one thing about West Ham is their squad is not that big anyway. So, you know, outside of their 11, once they start trying to rest a load of players, they're just into, you know, probably their youth team, which, to be fair, I don't watch a lot of West Ham on the 23s, so I wouldn't know. But yeah, it was a bit of a shock to see such a strong lineup, especially considering they got such a big game, you know, the Thursday afterwards. You wouldn't have expected such a strong lineup. But, you know, it might have worked in our favour as well because, you know, if you've got a big game in the week, you're not going to exactly go full pelt, are you? So, you know, it's kind of like a half and half situation where, you know, sometimes we've played weakened teams before and we couldn't even get ourselves over the line. So it was a surprise, but, you know, I don't think they had much choice, to be honest.
No, I kind of agree. I mean, only from an Arsenal standpoint, I thought that they would definitely go weaker, just because I know they got no centre backs as well. Like, they're really struggling, and there's even Kurt Zuma coming back. Obviously, I'm assuming they come in to get some game time, but I was quietly shocked just at how quite strong they went. Richard, when you saw the Arsenal team, what did you think? Were there any surprises that jumped out at you? I mean, the only one, maybe Tomiyasu starting. What do you think about
that? No, not really. I said after Tommy's cameo in the was it the United game he came back from? Yeah, I think it was. After his cameo in that, I figured he would start, get minutes under his belt before like the North London derby and stuff like that. I think the only real decision was possibly Martinelli or Smith Rowe, and I think this is probably a game for Martinelli rather than Smith Rowe, in the sense of, you know, giving a bit of protection to helping out Nuno, who's been struggling of late, and things of that nature. So no, you know, there was no real big surprise. You know, Nketiah, after his performance of late, is kind of undroppable from the squad. You know, same with the Egyptian Pirlo. You know, undroppable at the minute. So it kind of picked itself. I think the only thing that I kind of sighed a little bit was when Ben White. I saw Ben White was injured, and I kind of I was like, oh no. But Bob Holding came in, did an excellent job, didn't he?
No, he definitely did. He's a great deputizer for Ben White, so it wasn't too bad. The game itself in the first half wasn't the best, was it, Femi? It just seemed that we couldn't string a pass together. You know, our attacks kept breaking down, and it seemed like our players didn't know that we were playing in yellow because we just couldn't find the players. And I think it was you I can't remember if it was you or not, that started questioning the pitch, because it was just weird how passes were just going awry, like nothing was going right for us.
Yeah, I think for both teams, to be fair. I mean, we obviously concentrate on ourselves a lot, but the first half was just lacking in so much quality. It was pretty poor. You know, I made a remark that I had spent the day before randomly actually watching Gillingham. I think they were getting relegated from League One. They were playing, I don't even remember who they were playing, but they were in League One. And I said the quality is on a par, to be honest. If you swapped one game for another, you wouldn't actually recognize one was in the Premier League. And we just seem to have these games sometimes where we just cannot connect passes. The passing is slow, it's tedious, it's, you know, the build up from the back, defenders throwing their arms in the air, and it seemed to be one of those, especially the first part of the first half. You know, there was just something lacking. You know, it wasn't you couldn't even pick out a particular player at that point. You know, I've got my bugbears with some players, but you know, you couldn't pick out this is the player. But there was a lot of passes that just kept going out of play, or a simple 2-yard pass that someone can't connect with. So it was a little bit of a strange situation. And obviously, like I said, West Ham just, I mean, I don't remember either keeper having a lot to do in the first half, to be honest.
No, I can't remember like a significant save to make. I mean, I want to talk about this guy later on in the show, but Tavares, I was watching the game at work, Richard, and had it on my iPad, and I just kept, every time sort of Tavares got the ball, I just kept almost shouting at him to say, no, don't do that, no, get back, no, stay in position. Like, I understand that he wants to get forward, but I just feel like his positional awareness is just atrocious to me. Like, I don't know what you think, if you agree or whether you don't agree.
I do agree. I think I do agree. I think it's a little bit highlighted in this because he's the one we're focusing on, kind of thing because he's had some shaky and ropey displays of late. So like we're almost super focused on every little mistake he makes, every little bit he's out of position. I don't think he's a natural left back. I actually think he was better against West Ham than he has been of late. And I think having Tomiyasu in the back line helps him out a lot, because I think naturally Tomiyasu almost reverts into like a back three almost at times, which means the two centre-backs can hold over and just close up those spaces that Nuno would ordinarily vacate. I think I can't remember where I heard it or the thing, but like, you know, the guy is allegedly supposedly like Nuno Tavares. He's played a shockingly small amount of professional first team games. So like he's even younger than his years would suggest. So I mean, that's probably one, let's say, and another reason why his positional play is so so lacking. But I say I do get what you mean in the sense of it's. So your eyes just get drawn to him because it's that chaotic style that he kind of has. Kind of highlights, and it's like a big neon sign of mistake. He's not, do you know what I mean? As in, like I say, it's he seems to highlight. We seem to highlight him more than other players at the minute, just because of the bad spell that he's going through.
You know what? I'm gonna say something controversial. I just don't see it even a little bit. I get he's athletic and everything, but he's very, very fortunate, I think, believe it or not, that what happened in that Man United game could have been one of the worst, I don't know, 60, 70 minutes of any Arsenal player I've ever seen. He could have given away 3 penalties. He did give away 1 penalty. He was controlling the ball into setting them up for counterattacks. It was just a weird... And he seems to do that in every match where he has this spell of about 30 minutes where his head's just completely gone. And I think he's just lucky that he's 20 or 21, whatever he is. And people think that that's a reason to have an upside. Sometimes a player just doesn't have he's never going to make it. So I think...
To play devil's advocate, though, at the start of the season, people were chirping and saying about that could Tierney get back in the team because he was doing all right. But I do agree. I think also, but because he's so pacey as well, I think that gets him out of trouble sometimes. So he's kind of not in over his head, but he's playing above what his technical level is at. I always felt that with Bellerin as well. When Bellerin burst on the stage, because of his pace, he was 4 or 5 years ahead of where his technical ability actually was. And I have a slight little inkling with Nuno, and I think that's where, let's say, he's getting found out because, let's say, his positional sense, as Karl alluded to, at times is shocking. And some of his decision making, and he in the West Ham game, he went on like a mazy run, and he seemingly like he didn't know where he was going, and he just went down a blind alley, lost the ball, and then didn't run back, and it was So I completely get what you guys are saying.
You know what? It's funny because we're winning. If we were not winning these games, I don't think anyone would be laughing at all. That's all I'm saying. It's quite hilarious because we're finding a way to dig ourselves wins. But let him do something like that against Tottenham. I don't think everyone would be as forgiving, to be honest. That's what I'm just saying. I'm just saying that, just a word of caution. The amount that we're laughing now and isn't he so funny, and just don't turn on him when he plays exactly the same way, and it goes absolutely pear-shaped because it's a flip of a coin at the moment whether it's going to go right or go wrong.
I want to pick up on something that Richard said, that he's not a natural left back. I mean, Richard, I actually agree with you, but don't you think it's weird that we bought him to play left back? And so many people now are saying he's not a natural left back. So if he's not a natural left back, what is he? A wing back? Is he a left midfielder? Did we buy him as a left midfielder? I'm sure we bought him to deputise Kieran Tierney as a left back.
I think his ideal position would be a left back in a 5, or in a wing back position. You look at the heat maps and stuff like that for Tierney, and how high Tierney played a lot of the time. Again, like I said, with that axis of Tomiyasu, White and Gabriel, almost, like I said, at times playing as a 3. You look at those average positions, Tierney was so high up in the pitch. And I think that's what Nuno has been kind of brought in to deputise. But the problem, the issue is, I think, is that when Tommy got injured, the replacement for Tommy was Cedric, who is a very, very different right back. So that 3 then became a 2. So the Gabriel and White are now filling in those spaces for for Cedric and for Nuno, and then you've got gaps all over the gaff, and you know, coupled into the fact that I think it was post Christmas. I think Xhaka was also playing a lot higher as well, whereas normally he would have that inclination to drop deep and fill into that left back slot that was vacated by Tierney and stuff like that. You know, again, that's just more gaps for Nuno to vacate, and that when he does vacate them, we get punished on the counter attack. Yeah, so that's my 2 pence. So that's why I kind of say that he's not a natural left back. I don't think he's a natural left back in a 4 of yet. He hasn't mastered that role, or I don't think he's done it enough to curb those attacking instincts. Well, not curb, but you know what I mean, like smarten his attacking instincts.
What do you do with him, Femi, next season? Like, I don't want to keep him in the status, but do you sell him and try and recoup your money back for him? Do you give him a loan? Like, where? Like,
it
people
depends
have
where we
seen
end
the
up.
way he plays.
Yeah, I think it depends where we end up. If we end up in the Europa League, I'll keep him and let him play the group stages of the Europa League. We've already been linked with a new left back, the Scottish guy from
Bologna.
There you go. That seems like something that it's a random rumor, but it could just be true. You know, you sign another left back, then you send him out on loan, either to develop or with the aim of selling him. So I could see him going back to Portugal on loan, personally. That might make sense. You know, he's still got value. I'm sure his value's gone up, but it's so random, isn't it? That there was a month, like you said. He was linked to Man City. Do you remember that?
Was he?
Remember that? Yes, he was linked to Man City. I could pull up the report right now. He was linked to Man City. The report said that Man City had been scouting him as a cover left back. It's such a weird, weird report. But yeah, that's what I mean. It's such a random rumor, but I think a season on loan out of the spotlight, you know, might do him some good. Yeah, I mean, if we qualify for Champions League, I mean, what's the point? He's not exactly. I mean, I've been watching some of the Champions League games the last 2 weeks, and the quality
he get destroyed in the Champions League. And like you said, we'll all laugh. Like, if he makes a mistake against Tottenham and they win 1-0 because he's made the mistake, no one is going to forgive him. Like,
I just want everyone to keep the same energy. Just don't be angry. Just laugh the same way if you want to laugh now, because he plays the same way every single game.
Femi, you've met Arsenal fans before, yeah?
Exactly.
Fickle, but you know, you're not a fickle bunch, Charles. I was talking about the first goal that we scored against West Ham. So I remember what led to the corner was an Eddie shot. Like, it came a ball from, I want to say, Odegaard. Played it to Eddie. Eddie sort of danced between some players and tried to find the bottom corner. Fabianski sort of palmed it away. And then Saka took the corner, and it was a goal from Rob Holding, his first in the Premiership, which I found so weird when the commentator said that. Like, and because it seems like he's been playing in the Premiership for years, and you'd have thought that maybe he would have got a goal before, but he didn't. I mean, Richard, when we scored our first goal, was it more of a relief, especially the timing as well of the goal? What did you think about that?
Yeah, because we hadn't really created much. Like, as Femi said, it was kind of a game lacking in quality up until that, and I don't think we'd really done much. And you know, the chance was created through West Ham losing the ball in midfield, like playing a poor pass. You know, Odegaard jumps on it, played a through pass to Nketiah, and it was a nice little shot. You know, it was one of those things that Nketiah likes to do. He very rarely tends to put his foot through it, does it? He likes to cushion the ball and almost pass it into the net. And it was a decent save from Fabianski. Yeah, I'm surprised that Holding hadn't scored in the Premiership before. Like I said, considering how long he's been playing for, and that he is fairly decent in the air. But I suppose it's taken until our new set piece coach to arrive for us to really make the corners pay dividends. I thought it was very well versed. Why they stuck, was it Lanzini on holding? I'll never know. That was
mismatch.
Yeah, that was the strange decision. He just literally shoved him off, get on the weight, son, and a nice little glancing header. So it was good, settled down the nerves, because I was, as Femi touched on at the start, I think was very nervous about the game at the start, because I was worried we were going to be too complacent, worried that that we were going to think, oh, they're in the Europa League semi-finals, so we're not going to they're not going to try, they're going to put out their kids or whatever. I was worried about our complacency. So, and getting the first goal is so vital for Arsenal. We're so of late, we're so much better when teams have to open up a little bit rather than us trying to break down low block teams. So I was very thrilled when we got that first goal.
Yeah, and then you're thinking that we're going to go in at half time, all good, and we concede a goal. I watched the goal again, and I'm kind of watching it now, and I hate to say this, and it starts from a Tavares miscontrol. It goes out for a throw-in, where simple ball where he miscontrols it from Xhaka, and then West Ham play it sort of into Declan Rice. Goes out for Lanzini, and then it comes back into Kufau. And my issue is Kufau has so much space, because for some unknown reason, it seems like we were playing a 3 at the back, and our left back wasn't where the left back is. Now, I don't want to take any credit away from Jared Bowen, because that control and the shot to hit it in was absolutely brilliant. And I don't like really praising other teams' players, but give him credit, it was brilliant. But again, I think there's a load of errors there, because Gabriel didn't cover himself in glory either, did he, Femi? Turning his back. That is one of my bugbears about defenders turning their backs. Like, it pisses me off. Do you remember that Mustafi used to do all the time? Turn his back. Like, you'd think that you'd stand straighter to make your body bigger, but I don't know. It was just... How frustrated was you conceding that goal just before half time?
Yeah, it's quite weird, because we also had literally about a minute after they scored, Declan Rice had a header, didn't he, from a corner that Ramsdale pulled off.
Great save.
Massive save, yeah. So, and we had against Chelsea, we went ahead twice, immediately got pegged back. Against Man United, as soon as Saka scored, immediately Ronaldo scored their goal. So it seems to be a little theme running at the moment, where we score and then just immediately within 5 minutes concede a goal. So it's very, very frustrating. And you're talking about people turning their back. Against Chelsea, Xhaka turned his back, didn't he? And it deflected off his inside leg, and it went through onto goal as well. So that was another one that turned his back. So it's we haven't been keeping much clean sheets lately. I think it's 6 games without a clean sheet now. So it's something that we've kind of prided ourselves on during the whole Arteta era, is our defending. And it hasn't lately been up to scratch. But on the upside is, obviously, we've complained about lack of goals. So we have been scoring more goals, to be fair. But honestly, we need to... It will be good to keep a few clean sheets before, some of these games. 4 games, if we can keep 3 clean sheets in the next 4 games, which we're definitely capable of. If we decide to shut up shop, we can do it. And let's see if we can do that before the end of the season and stop conceding silly goals.
I mean, yeah, it's frustrating. You spoke about it on a podcast a while ago, Femi, about Ramsdale not being as good as he was when, we're not saying he's rubbish, but not being as good as he was when he first came. Do you think, and again, we're going to talk about Ramsdale in a second, but do you think that either he's getting a bit too confident? Do you think that he needs, well, there's no point resting him now. There's got 3 games left, so there's no point. But do you think it's maybe lack of competition, knowing that he's the nailed-on number 1, so he can do kind of what he wants and knows that he's not going to get dropped?
Yeah, he does get a bit overexcited. I think it seems to be, and a lot of the I mean, where I was coming from was he was making a lot of basic errors, not like massive clangers where, you know, like the who is it, the Villarreal keeper the other night who just
Tuli.
Absolutely,
no,
Rulli or whatever his name is. Yeah, he
Rulli,
absolutely.
Oh God, he was ridiculous.
Unbelievable. It's nothing like that. It's nothing like that. It's just like little mistakes where I think what you're saying is probably what makes sense, which is because there's a lack of competition. You know, he kind of knows Leno's leaving. You know, people can read between the lines. You know, he knows that he's number 1. Whereas if you were like, you know, in January and he was making silly mistakes, you should have a backup keeper that can say, you know what, I'm gonna take his place for 1 game or 1 game here, just to sharpen him up, you know. And maybe his injury that he had as well. Maybe we don't know what the effects of that are, but I thought he was a lot better in this game. To be fair, his kicking out was a lot better in this game. It wasn't just kicking it into touch and stuff like that. It was back to, you know, distribution wise much better. I think he found it a bit more difficult kicking it to Rob Holding and Ben White, to be fair. But I thought it was a lot better, apart from one crazy incident in this game.
Yes, and that's what I want to talk about. So, as always, I always take off my Arsenal hat and put on my football hat, Richard. That when he came out, what was first of all, what was you thinking when he first came out and he didn't make contact? But what was your initial thoughts of when he came rushing out of his goal?
I thought Almunia had come back to the club. I thought Manuel had robbed Holding of his shirt and had said, "Don't worry, lads, I've got this for the next 5 minutes." It was bizarre. I thought he was done for. I thought that was, you know, in the cold light of day, in natural time, I thought that was a foul, and I thought, oh, he's gone. He's taken this dude out. But yeah, thankfully for him, he didn't make a touch, because it was. It's also one of those things where you think, like, do you only judge something on impact? Because he was never getting to the ball or anything like that. I was heart in mouth. I was absolutely crapping myself that he had royally ballsed up. But I'm a bit confused about it. Did Mike Dean blow for a foul? For a dive, or did Bowen? Because I thought at one point Bowen had kind of come clean and said that he hadn't, and I thought that's what Mike Dean was like giving him like a weird thumbs up and all that sort of stuff. So I was really confused about that whole incident.
I think he was. So again, I'm watching it now. Ball over the top, he comes rushing out. I'll be honest with you, I was working at the time, and I turned to my colleague and I said, Ramsdale's off, because I thought he had taken him out. And if I'm really honest, I would have had no qualms if Ramsdale got sent off. I literally would have been, okay, cool, like it is what it is. Because, like I said, take off my Arsenal hat, put on my football hat. I think if that's at the other end and the West Ham keeper had done that, I would be screaming red. It's only when you see the replay from behind that you see that. I personally don't think that Jared Bowen dived. He avoided contact. Like, he was either stay there and get clattered and possibly break my leg, or move out the way. Like, he didn't dive and flail about and roll around and start screaming. He literally just avoided contact. But for me, Ramsdale rushing out, studs up, like, and all his studs were up as well. If Bowen doesn't dive up, move out of the way, he that's a leg breaker, like 100% no qualms leg breaker. Femi, do you think that Ramsdale was lucky to stay on the pitch? Not even lucky to stay on the pitch. What did you make of that incident?
Do you know what? Goalkeepers get away with a lot. That's all I can say, because I've seen goalkeepers do like a lot of things. If I put it like this, if an outfield player did that, he would have been off. That's the easiest way I can say it.
Do you think VAR would have overturned it because he didn't make any contact? I know what you mean. That's why I go back in saying about the fact that you're reffing by outcome rather than what.
Yeah, this is the problem with all these rules, that because
his intent there.
Yeah, the intent thing, the force, and all of that rubbish. I mean, look at Xhaka's red card against Man City at the beginning of the season. He went in with force. He literally grazed the player, but because of the intent, the force, he was off. So it's kind of like, what do we do? Who knows with all these rules? Like, it's just sometimes it's pluck it out of the air, to be honest.
Yeah, I like I said, my heart was in my mouth, and it's only when I saw him take out the yellow card, even I was like, oh, okay, yellow card for Ramsdale, I'll take that. And then when I saw Bowen's name come up, I was like, oh, and then he was saying, yeah, because you could see him saying, yeah, he didn't touch me yet, fair dues, like it is what it is. But I think Jared Bowen is extremely unfortunate to get a yellow card there, like I'm very honest. And I think that Ramsdale is very, very fortunate to stay on the pitch, like especially it being Mike Dean as well. I would have thought, shit, that's it.
That's probably the last game Mike Dean does for Arsenal as well.
Hopefully,
yeah, but, he's not doing another game for us.
And yeah, I thought, damn, that's that he's lucky to stay on the pitch. And then after that, we kind of went up the other end and got a corner and scored from the corner. And like you said, our set piece coaches seem to be doing well. Femi, so corner came in, it got headed out, and Martinelli sort of put the ball onto his right foot or left foot, sorry, and then put the ball back in. I originally thought it was offside from Gabriel, because I thought they're going to call it offside because it's just one of those things. But it was good movement. If I'm going to be critical, we scored, brilliant, but Gabriel headed it straight at Fabianski, and it was the momentum that took it into the goal. Like, a goal's a goal, and I don't really care. But what did you make of that when we saw
the West Ham defender that was keeping him onside decided that he was going to abandon him and sort of play an offside trap when there was literally no pressure on the ball. The cross had already come in and he was playing an offside trap.
I think it was 4-0 again. I think it was 4-0 again.
Yeah, it was.
Our man of the match.
It was absolutely crazy. He decided to run out for no reason whatsoever. But Gabriel's he's scored quite a few goals since he's come to Arsenal. Mainly from corners. It's quite a. I think they said he's the top scoring defender in the league, if I'm not mistaken, or centre back. So he's done quite well. He's jumped joint top scorer with all our strikers anyway, with 4 Premier League goals with Aubameyang and Lacazette.
How much of a sad state of affairs is that? Jeez.
Yeah, you know what? There was a team in the league that had this crazy goal record. I think their first scorer scored like 10, and everyone else has scored 1 or something. I don't know if it's like Brighton or one of those teams, but it's so weird, like their goal scoring, and we're kind of entering that realm as well, where our defenders are. I think Tottenham have like Kane and Son, and their third highest scorer is own goal. It's ridiculous, So like the goal scoring in the league is apart from the top lot is quite appalling when you look at it, because I always think we scored quite a few goals, 55 or something like that. But then you look at Tottenham, Man United, and they've pretty much scored the same amount as us, to be honest. So yeah, for us, set pieces have been quite key this season. I think we could have scored a lot more set pieces. Our deliveries into the box with Saka and Martinelli especially have been absolutely just brilliant. The way they put the ball right in the middle now, apart from some corners, they don't mess around. They just in-swinging corners, no out-swingers, no messing around. And Ødegaard as well. Actually, all three of them, they put in really good deliveries. And, we've reaped the benefits. Let's hope this set-piece coach lasts longer than the last one and doesn't leave in the summer again. But, yeah, he's done a really good job, especially defensively, set-pieces. I mean, they're counting the Southampton.
We haven't consorted, have we?
Well, no, they're counting the Southampton one as a set piece goal. Even though I don't know what you think. The second phase of play stuff is they counted it as a set piece goal. Yeah,
they would, because they don't want us to have that record of not conceding, don't they? So they're going to no matter what.
Yeah. So, but then again, I mean, this was second phase of play for Gabriel as well, wasn't it? So it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah. Richard, did you have any heart in the mouth moments when you thought maybe Holding might have handballed it? Because he had his arm out when he went for the second ball, and I personally think it hit his arm, but VAR chalked it off, and I've known VAR to probably be a little bit of bastards and probably say it's handball, not give the goal to us.
No, not really. I didn't. I think because it was kind of like another, almost like another phase that then happened from Gabriel getting the Martinelli, getting the ball and then swing it back in. I wasn't too worried about it, I have to say. I did notice it, but I didn't really. I think the check was fairly quick anyway. So by the time it kind of flagged up on the TV, and I kind of looked at him and was going, nah, they're not gonna. They'd already ruled it out. So I wasn't really. I'm sure if it happened the other way around, and that handball happened against us, I'd be spitting blood right now. But no, I wasn't overly fussed about it.
No, I have to agree. I was looking at it, but when you think VAR can just be bastards and it's Arsenal, that you have this thought in the back of your head. The game kind of petered out, I think, a little bit. What I like about Arsenal this season is the dark arts of Arsenal, the time wasting, the fouls that we do. I absolutely love it. Do you think that it's something that we've trained for, or something that maybe Arteta has definitely said to them, do certain fouls, like, if you need to take a yellow card, take a yellow card, apart from Granit Xhaka, because you need to tell him to take a yellow card. But Femi, do you think that is something that we are training to do? Like the dark heart, staying down as well. When we're injured, just taking an extra minute to get up, roll around, fix your laces, pull your sock up, those sort of things.
Yeah, I mean, it's a plus side of signing players that are not sort of how can I put this? That are coming from lower down the league as well. Players like Ben White, Ramsdale, players like that. They're used to playing for teams, that waste time majority of the game. Ramsdale is, majority of his career would be taking goal kicks for 10 minutes in a game. That's what he's used to, So if he needs to revert to that, he can. And obviously, we've got loads of coaches now at the club, and I'm sure you've got people like what's our English assistant's name? David Moyes' Steve Round. These are like old wily coaches, that would have experience of doing it. And obviously you've got Arteta as well. He would have grown up under, the Everton, David Moyes and Rangers. So they've got some grit about them as managers, coaches and stuff like that. So you have to know what to do in this game, There's no point being a nice guy. Remember when we played on the Wenger, we used to be 2-1 up and we were banging fullbacks forward in the 90th minute, and then we'll get caught on a counter attack. And you just have to be smart sometimes. Just take the win. Now is not about performances, to be honest.
No,
I would love that. Even if we've got like the set piece coach and all that sort of stuff, I would love that we have an official like shithousery coach, just a coach whose only focus and only job is just to teach shithousery, the laces, the water breaks, just any kind of that classic Robert Pires of like when he was like a marionette puppet, he'd cut his strings and he would fall to the floor, just all that sort of I generally can't stand that in the game, but that's usually because that's always happening to us. Now we're doing it. It's a breath of fresh air.
I mean, Southampton until they got caught out used to always have a player go down in about 60th, 70th minute, and then they'd all go over to the sideline. So Ralph, so they to manage to give them tactics. And then I think it was Sky Sports had done a highlight on it, and then all of a sudden they stopped doing it.
Yeah, look, I'm looking at all the coaching staff on my screen, and I promise you, I'm still scrolling down. I'm scrolling. There's so many of them. There's so many staff members, all the way from Arteta around Albert, the goalkeeping coach. There's so many of them. Some of these young guys.
If one of them has the initials DOS, Director of Shithousery, on their chest,
well, look,
I'm going to lose it.
It's probably this one, hired from Atletico Madrid. That's where we got it from. That's the one that's doing it.
Yeah, that's the one. You are dead right. You are dead right.
But that's great. I want to talk about the Declan Rice incident. Like, I found it funny. I was watching it. Like, I was half doing my work and half watching it, and I'm then just seeing Declan Rice square up to Eddie Nketiah. Like, how much of a prick is Declan Rice? So I have to say that because like there was no need for that, and for me, that's wasting time. Like, that's wasting more time for your team where you're losing. You just want to put the ball down and play. I don't understand why he did it. Like, it was just weird. Richard, what did you think? Like, was you watching the game thinking, are you some sort of idiot? Like, what's wrong with you?
I never really normally disliked Declan Rice. I always thought, he was a phenomenally good player. But what the fuck was he doing? Excuse my language. What the hell was he doing? And the whole giving it the big, like, was he saying like, "Who are you?" to Nketiah?
Yeah.
I swear he's the guy who scored all his goals in the under 21s, mate. You've been in enough games with him and stuff like that. I thought that was very, very strange. It was very, very odd. I couldn't even. I struggled to even remember why they were even squaring up to in the first place. Kind of thing. It just seemed very, very bizarre.
So it was a foul by El Nene, I think it is, and I think Nketiah prevented them from sort of getting on with the game. He sort of got in the way of the free kick. He took a yellow card for it. It is what it is. And then everyone came running up to him, like Nketiah, and then the whole Arsenal team came on, like a little bit of handbags, as you do with footballers, because no one's going to throw a punch because they know that you throw a punch, you're going to get sent off straight away. And then it was all finished. It had literally finished. Everything had done. And then for some unknown reason, Declan Rice went up to Eddie Nketiah and carried on. He carried it on. So obviously Eddie Nketiah's like, "What are you on about?" And he's like, "Who are you? Who are you? Shut up." I'm like, bro, your team's losing. Like, if I was Eddie Nketiah, I would have been like, your team's losing 2-1. Like, and you'll still want to argue with me. Eddie Nketiah, brilliant, because I would have argued with him all day. I would have carried on the arguing. Like, and it's eating up seconds, eating up time. Love it. Like you said, director of shithousery, probably telling him to do that as well. And it's just really, really weird. I guess what I love about that is that the whole Arsenal team came in to back him. Like, and Eddie Nketiah's not stupid. He's arguing with him on purpose, like wasting more time. And like the West Ham team are going up to Rice and saying, "Come on, get on with it, get on with it." Like, and Odegaard's coming to Eddie Nketiah saying, "Oh, don't worry about it." But how much? It's just an idiot. Like, I just don't understand that. Footballers are never good. It's not the old days. Footballers are never ever going to fight on the football pitch. Like, it's never going to happen because no one's going to risk a red card. But all this squaring up to each other, footballers, it just makes me laugh because no one's going to do anything. Not one of you. So I don't get it.
Mate, I'm telling you, the director of Shithousery had that clip on a flash drive Monday morning, ready to go through the rewatch. I like I said, I love the fact that everybody jumped in as well, kind of not like making, as you said, no one's throwing any punches or anything, but we're defending our own, and everybody's looking out for each other, and all it did was just wasted more time. So yeah, I was very pleased with how we handled it, and like I said, the whole Eddie Nketiah just standing there, kind of standing his ground, just completely, giving him nothing back, prick. So yeah, no, well done to Nketiah and the lads. I thoroughly endorsed it.
Definitely. And yeah, so we won the game. Femi, do you think there was a little more pressure on the guys because Tottenham had won before?
Not according to Ramsdale. He said he didn't even know the result. But I don't know, because exactly. I don't know, because you've got I think we're in a stage now, where we've got to start thinking about we probably would have been at that for a while, but game at a time, and now it's in our control. Do not worry about them. I think we're literally, as soon as the game finished, my first words were, you know what, that was absolute garbage, but take the points. I never want to think about that game again. And on Saturday night, I just want to sit back in front of my TV and watch them get stuffed. That's all I'm thinking, because it's now it's up to you. You go and do something in your hardest game of the season. If I could have picked, be honest, if we could have picked any game for them to play in this run-in, it would be Liverpool away at Anfield. Over Man City away, over anything. Liverpool away is the hardest game in the league. So now it's ball in their court, and then we got to do it on Sunday. So now that's why I said we just got to think about us now, because we had those 3 performances where we just lost something. I don't know what it was. Something was wrong, and that's because it was we put pressure on ourselves. So now it's up to us to say, you know what, it's in our court now, and we just have to go and do the job on Sunday, and then this time next Thursday, boy, let's see what happens, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, by the time we play them, potentially we could be 5 points ahead. I mean, that's with everything going our way. If we beat Leeds and they lose at Anfield, which would be brilliant, Richard, don't you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what we need. Like I said, they've got. I don't think they've got a particularly good record up at Anfield, and Liverpool are going for that quadruple or whatever. So they're going to be up for it. They're not going to want to drop any points. So they're going to be on it. So hopefully they get absolutely tonked. All of their players get absolutely spent and then we can do the business on Leeds. But Femi's right. In the fact that we need to focus on us, because it's no good them losing to Liverpool and then we mess it up against Leeds. We need to be clinical. We need to do our jobs. We need to go out there and be professional and get the job done. I think it massively helps that we play after them for this game, because I think as much as you'd love to put just be that one game at a time and not focus on anything kind of thing. But I don't, the players knew that Tottenham had won kind of thing. So it was always going to be a little bit in their mind, as professional as you'd like them to be. It's always going to be in their mind. So I'm glad we're playing them after. We just need to get that over the line, then go to White Hart Lane with 5 points, so that there's very little pressure on us, because I still think under pressure, this team is still learning to play with pressure.
I mean, there's going to be no better pressure than going to White Hart Lane needing something. I mean, I just think that I would love to have that little buffer, to go to White Hart Lane, 5 points, potentially securing top 4 at White Hart Lane, which would be brilliant. But I don't think that should be in the player's mind. I think because what I don't want is them to think is, oh, if we lose this game, I guess we've still got 2 points in hand, which that's something we definitely don't want. I think they're going to play for pride, obviously. You're going to want to beat your local rivals 100%. And I think that, there's no bones about it. This is going to be a very hard game. Tottenham, as much as I hate to say that, they're playing good football at the moment. Conte has definitely got them playing. And the link-up play between Son and and Kane, as much as I hate them, and I personally wouldn't put them in my fantasy football team, would I, Femi? But I can't lie. It's do you know what? That's the reason why I haven't got players. I refuse to put any top players in my fantasy football. And you, Ellis, don't think we haven't forgotten. Fuck Ellis. But yeah.
That was an extremely pointed comment there, Karl.
But their link-up play is very, very good. And that's not to say that we can't get at them. Not at all. You are wishing that you did have, all of our good players back. But El Nene and Xhaka in the middle are, at the moment, they're playing well. Eddie and Nketiah, getting at that back 4 is brilliant. We need a player with pace, and I wouldn't want sort of Lacazette to come back in. I mean, how good would it be, Femi, to secure top 4 at White Hart Lane?
You know what? The more I think about this game, the more I've seen bits and bobs of them. They don't really play that well at all. They just have these 3 players up front that just do the business. But the way we play, I give us a chance of going there and getting a result, as in winning the game, or getting a draw. I don't see why not, because, obviously dependent on personnel. But if we can keep Tommy, White, and Gabriel fit, I give us a chance there. Why not? I think that would be absolutely just the confidence that we'll gain of not having to even do those last 2 games. Like we're all thinking, oh, there's 4 games to go. Imagine the next 2 games we win. That's it. We're done. There's no more talk of top 4. We would have wrapped it up, just from those 2 games alone, because they wouldn't be able to get 8 points basically back on us. So why not? Let's it's a game that we should have played in January, to be honest. I wish we had played that game in January, because as soon as this fixture was postponed and it never got rearranged into the diary, you knew what Sky were doing. We all called it as Arsenal fans. We knew what they were doing. As much if they would have loved to put this in this week, basically. Not even next week. They would have loved to put this in the last week
season. Yeah.
As just before, because I know they can't switch the last game because it's set. They would have loved to have squeezed this in just before the last game of the season. But they've got it as close as they can to the end. They've manufactured something but to be fair, we should have just played that game and just taken a result, because I think we would have caught up the points at any point anyway, because they're just not stable at all. I mean, I listen to their fans. They're just as inconsistent as we are, if not more. They don't know how to keep the ball. They get pressured so much. The game against Brighton, if you nullify Kane, and by dropping someone into midfield, they've got nothing else.
That's what we need to do. I think nullifying Kane is going to be key. Tomiyasu being back and being able to keep up with Son, it is going to be definitely key, 100% key. And I know he limped off in the West Ham game. There's no talk of him not playing, or I think Arteta said it was just a little precaution or a knock, and hopefully he's
I think it was just cramp. He was just been out for a long time, and I don't think it was any injury or anything like that.
I mean, what the danger, what we're doing, and I'm guilty of this now, we're looking past the Leeds game. And Leeds they're fighting for their lives. So Leeds is going to be no easy game, even being at home. And I think that, we can't just look to the Leeds game and think, oh yeah, that's easy 3 points, because it really isn't. Like, I don't think it is. You know, when teams are scrapping for their lives to stay in the Premier League, that's when they're most dangerous, don't you think, Richard?
Oh yeah, absolutely. When a damaged animal, will always return in frenzy, and they're always going to be dangerous. But I think the Leeds game kind of, famous last words, kind of plays into our hands a little bit, because they are so open and they leave such big spaces for us. So hopefully we'll be able to take advantage of that. I know they got Phillips back. Have they got Bamford back yet?
No.
Leeds.
He's done for the season.
Oh, is he? Oh, okay. So yeah. So hopefully, like I say, yeah, I do agree with you. We need to get past Leeds first and get that job done professionally, because like I say, it's can you imagine, like I say, if Liverpool do tonk Spurs and then we stuff it up, we'd be sick as a parrot. We'd be absolutely gutted, because that would be a massive chance. But hopefully, like I say, we can beat Leeds and then we can go on to the Armitage Shanks Arena, and we've already won the league at Spurs twice, so why can't we get top 4 at Spurs as well?
I mean, yeah, I'd love that. I think Everton winning against Chelsea, which let's all laugh at that, I think was so unexpected, like completely. I think that's what throws the cat amongst the pigeons, because maybe Leeds are thinking, Everton are going to get dragged into this, but then winning again, it's like, shit. They're probably thinking, where are these points coming from? I mean, it would be brilliant to relegate Everton on the last game of the season, secure top 4 at White Hart Lane. So not White Hart Lane, the Toilet Bowl, whatever the stadium's called now, the Tottenham Stadium, sorry, would just be absolutely brilliant. But I think, like Loki said in the chat here, the Newcastle game, I personally think, is a worry. Newcastle are playing well. I think Liverpool just about beat them. It's not a given that you can go to Newcastle and pick up points. And I think if we're looking at maybe dropping points anywhere, it's maybe Newcastle away and maybe Spurs away. So we need to hope. I mean, it's in our own hands, and that's what's the best thing. With securing top 4 is in our own hands. But it just wouldn't surprise me if Tottenham went away to Liverpool and got a result. They did it at Man City, where no one expected them to get a result, and it's just so typical Tottenham/Arsenal that would happen. And I don't know why. Like, I'm pessimistic about this, because Liverpool at the moment, best team in the world. The football that they play, the way their front 3/4 play, brilliant. Their wing backs, just absolutely brilliant. One of them can't defend, but he's brilliant at supplying balls. But for me,
to be fair, if you think about it, anything other than Liverpool beating them 4-0 doesn't actually make that much of a difference to us. So if they draw, for example, it actually doesn't make any real difference. If they draw or lose 1-0, for example, because the goal difference is so big, it actually doesn't make that much difference. Because they'll, if the results go how you're saying it would go, we lose to them, we draw with Newcastle, you would probably finish on the same points, and they've got the goal difference. What's the difference between? It's still 1 point anyway. The only thing is, if Liverpool absolutely stuff them, then it dents their confidence going into the game against us. So that's what you're looking at. So I can't see them getting a result at all against Liverpool. At all. I can't see Emerson Royale keeping up with Diaz on the wing. I can't see. Yeah, they rave on about this centre back that they've got. What's his name? Romero. What's his name?
He's a horrible player.
Yeah,
he's a nasty, horrible player.
Against Man City, I mean, they won, but flipping hell, they were lucky in that game. And that last kick that they had, that game actually made me. That's the last Tottenham game I watched, because I was like, I'm not watching this no more. And that's why I actually want Liverpool to win the league, because after that game, that last minute, I said, you know what? If Man City, I don't want Man City to win the league, because forget these idiots. They gave them 6 points basically this season. There's no way I want Man City to win the league. That annoyed me so much, and that's it. I'm not watching them no more. I'm not watching them anymore. I see bits and bobs of them. I see clips. I don't watch them on Match of the Day. I honestly couldn't care about them. I just want us to focus on us. Like you said, let's do our job against Leeds, because the Brighton game was just rubbish, to be honest with you. That annoyed the hell out of me, and I don't want another performance like that against, a team we should be beating at home.
Yeah, we have to definitely focus on ourselves, and I think Leeds at home, they're going to have to attack us. I think if they leave us space, then we can get at them. 100%, and go to Tottenham Stadium 5 points ahead. That's the dream, isn't it? Like, even if can we get a draw at Tottenham Stadium and still secure top 4? Because 6 points, no, it's an 8 point swing, isn't it? Yeah, so we actually need to win that. Yeah, but if we
then
2 games, no, because there'll be 2 games left in it.
Yeah, so we need basically.
So we need a win. So if we won there, there's no way they could catch us.
Yeah, there's no way they can catch us. Yeah.
Yeah, which we basically be a dream, wouldn't it? Like,
but you know what? To be honest, the way we played against Chelsea away, why not? That's a big game away. If we set up, like that, attacking wise, why not? Why not? And we can still catch Chelsea. Don't forget, even though it's very, very unlikely, we can still catch them. Wouldn't you just love to get third? Like, after all, battling for top 4 all season, and then somehow we managed to get third. Yeah, they need 2 wins basically then no one can catch them, and they're playing Wolves, who are just
they're terrible at the minute, aren't they?
Yeah, they're awful. They're properly gone Wolves. So yeah, no.
I would love for us to get above Chelsea just before they're liquidated and erased from history.
I mean, Richard, at the beginning of the season, like, I think that every Arsenal fan just wanted to get back into Europe. We've achieved that now. Like, we're definitely in Europe. Do you think Arteta needs to get more praise than he does by some quarters of the Arsenal supporters?
Yeah, I think he does. I think football fandom now, like I said, with the advent of social media, so there's so many. Everything is so territorial, but like, you're entrenched in your views, and you don't waver, and there's no, you can't change. You seemingly can't change your mind over something. I think we discussed this a couple of podcasts ago with where our very own Pirate kind of thing, who was very, very staunchly in the Arteta. Not Arteta out, but wasn't a fan of Arteta, and even he was said, I've come around to he's doing this well. He might not be his favourite of all time. He still might have things that he needs to improve on, or things that he doesn't like about him. But he could recognise the qualities that Mikel Arteta has brought to this team. I mean, don't get me wrong. I get it a little bit, in the sense of like 2 8th position finishes, falling out with, the as Danny called them, the Bundesliga bastards, and then Aubameyang and blah, 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 Guendouzi and all that sort of like, but I think what Mikel is doing and the upward trajectory that he seemingly takes on, I do think he needs to get more props for what he's doing. I think Gary Neville at the start of the season had Arsenal down as the biggest underachievers or some, things like that. I definitely think that he needs more and that we are ahead of the curve that I think a lot of even the most optimistic Arteta fans or people who are backing Arteta would have thought they would be. And like I said, I agree with you in the sense of I think a successful season would be getting back into Europe. We've done that, and now we're on the cusp, on the verge of getting into the Champions League, which is where we really wanted to be back in. You know, I think a lot of people would have thought that would have probably been the goal for next season. You know, so yeah, I think Arteta massively needs to get props for what he's building, and the, you know, Femi, you could probably answer to this more than most. You know, the atmosphere at the stadium, at the ground, is, in the games that I've been to this season, is phenomenal. There is a real connection between this team and the fans, and I think Mikel Arteta is playing a massive part in that connection.
Definitely. Like I said, in the last home game against Man United, when the players do their little lap around the pitch, Mikel Arteta came, obviously, as he does after every game, to the centre just to say thanks to the players. But now he started kind of doing a mini round. With the players go all the way around, especially a lot of the English lads. You know, they go all the way around the pitch, clap all the four corners, literally walk around. You know, like it's the end of season. And Xhaka started joining in that as well, interestingly enough. And Mikel does a mini one where he goes to every corner and just gives them a big clap. And the last home game against United, you know, he was basically cheered off the pitch, which I hadn't seen from an Arsenal manager in years. I mean, Wenger used to, unfortunately, got to the point where he used to shake another manager's hand and go straight down the tunnel. You know, Arteta's actually getting ripples of applause as he's coming off the pitch, which I haven't seen in about 10 years at Arsenal. And that's not me being disrespectful to Arsene Wenger. It's just the way things panned out. So, you know, a lot of the duplicity that you see is online noise. I've not heard a peep about him at the stadium, not even a peep. The fans have been so supportive this season from day one. The only game that it was a bit was the Brighton game, but the fans have been on side the whole season. You know, we used to get dull games where no noise was made. This season, I can't think of many games. You know, it's been good, and you know, long may it continue. I had us down to finish 6th, to be fair, this season. So they've already met my expectations. So anything else from now on is I want to say it's a bonus, but it would be disappointing, especially because of who's chasing us and everything. But no, he's doing a good job. You know, I still have my ups and downs, reservations, but you know, I can't say that he's not. I mean, if you look at our results against the middling teams in the league, it's 10 times better than it was last season. Teams like Wolves will come into the Emirates, and I know it was all that lockdown, weird atmosphere stuff, but playing us off the park, Burnley beating us, all these silly results. You know, even though we've had a few this season, it's been less and less of those. And you know, if you want to go to the next level, you know, we have to even push for even less silly results. So let's just try and finish this job, man. I really want us to do it. It would be so massive for the fan base, the players, the club, everything.
Well, if we do it, Amazon are going to win a freaking Emmy for that bloody documentary, aren't they?
I mean, let's just say, like, Femi, worst case scenario that we don't make top 4. I mean, we end up 5th.
Yeah.
And I think the only reason why anyone would really be that pissed off is because who we lost out to top 4 to. I think if it had been any other person, any other team, everyone would have been like, you know what, we ended up 5th. So we ended up 8th last season, 5th this season. So there's progress there. You know, I think he goes in. This is like Arteta's last. So he goes into his final year, doesn't he? I believe. Yeah. Do you think? I mean, obviously the offer for him to sign the contract is on the table. It's probably been on the table for a very long time. Do you think that he's not signing it in case we don't get top 4, and then he says, you know what, I've taken this team as far as I can go, and that's it? Or do you think he's waiting to get top 4, the feel-good factor within the club, and then, you know, announce, oh, Arteta signed the new 3.5-year contract, 4-year contract?
I think he's ready. That's already signed, sealed. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's why he went to America personally. That when everyone else went to Dubai, and then I think that's why he went to America, because I just think they've got so much faith in this guy. And I don't know who else. Who was it that was saying it? Someone was talking about him the other day, where they were talking about the whole club is built around him now. They absolutely love him there. The staff love him. He basically runs the club. He gives massive speeches and stuff like that. It's about stability, and we've been stable. So let's. I mean, it's not worth. I mean, what's the point of if you're going to start pushing forward? That's all you ask for as a club, So now let's see what the next stage of the project is now. And for the next stage of the project, the players that are coming in, the stability of the manager probably makes a massive difference. So if you're now signing a little bit more quality, give him, sort out his contract, let him sign a contract, let players that are around him sign contracts, like Saka, Martinelli, etc., and then just move on from there, really. So no, it's I think he'll sign. I think they'll sort that out early on in the summer, I think.
I mean, yeah, it'd be good. I think stability is the key word that you use there, Femi. We definitely need that within the club, like Richard said, or what Danny said about getting rid of the Bundesliga bastards. I think now what's happening is that in the club, we're rebuilding. That's what we're doing. Young talent. I believe the dressing room was probably toxic with, the whole Ozil situation. It wasn't good for anyone. And then obviously you had the situation with Aubameyang, which was never, ever good. And, I think once a player kind of loses respect for their manager, which obviously that's what they did. They blatantly had words. It probably went a bit too far. And it's like, well, you can't play for me if you don't respect me. We got rid of him. And, I mean, would we be in the same position with him in the club right now? Who knows? We just don't know what would have happened. But
then the problem you've got is it's scary to think that, okay, if the Cronkies are so reliant on Arteta, what are we going to do if he does decide to leave? Like, how does it work now? Because we've built so much around him, and he's so much of, like I was just saying, the image of the club
integral.
now. We've basically gone back to an Arsene Wenger situation where that we tried to get away from, where he's now the man, basically.
Because that's what happens when you don't have people in charge who know about football. And let's be very honest, that's exactly what it is. Because they don't understand the running of a football club, they've made it reliant on one person who does.
They tried to do the multi-person thing with Sanyehi and Mislintat and Ivan the Terrible, who and it all went tits up, and it went, it was even worse than what we had under, let's say, under Wenger and stuff like that. I mean, you guys, you remember the football under Emery and the disorganization seemingly everywhere. It was just a disaster zone. So I think maybe this, one person to rule it, or maybe that's what we needed, and what's working at the minute.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Richard. I think maybe more quote unquote football people on the board, so that we're not left in a bit of a predicament if Arteta does leave. Because let's face it, if Pep decides, I can't take this Man City squad. I mean, did he just suddenly contract Pep? I want to say he did. Didn't he, a few months ago? Or maybe there's something I'm just making up. I can't remember. But if he then decides, I've been at Man City for all these years, I can't win the Champions League with them, clearly that something's wrong, I'm going to go. Man City are definitely looking towards Arteta. That's 100%. And with all the money at their disposal, Arteta's going to take that job. Like 100%. Like, he's taking that job. So, making one person integral to the club, like taking them out, is obviously not the best thing in the world. but it's good at the same time because there's one source of information, one direction that they're moving to, and I guess with Edu must be talking to Arteta constantly and saying to him, this is what we need, this is what we need, this is what we need. I mean, surely by now, Richard and Femi, you would think that there's 2 lists of players that they need for next season. There's one Champions League. If we make the Champions League, these are the players we need to go for. And there's one, if we make the Europa League, these are the players that we need to go for. And you're hoping that list is probably being worked on now, if not being worked on, if not completed by now. Because, Femi, don't you think we need, 2 strikers? We need possibly a replacement left and right back, depending on who stays, maybe another centre midfielder. It's not going to be easy to get all these players in one transfer window.
I think we're looking at about another 6, aren't we? Especially with being in Europe now, and I think especially with Arteta not trusting the squad players, I think that's what is a bit scary, because I cannot see us going through a Champions or European campaign with the lack of trust that we have for certain players like Pepe. What is the point of Pepe anymore? He doesn't even come on the pitch. He's literally. Yeah, we're just at nothing with him. We've got players like you said, El Neni, who's literally just started playing because he wasn't trusted.
Whoa, Femi.
There's so many.
Let's not besmirch the pyramid Pirlo.
Arteta has to find players that he trusts, and there's too many players on that bench right now that he just doesn't trust, and we cannot go into a season with 15 players basically. It's impossible to go into a season with Europe with that many players. Like I was of the opinion that this Sunday Pepe should be starting for Saka and saving Saka for Spurs, because Saka looks absolutely knackered by 60 minutes every game now. He's cramping up, he's dropping to the floor. Obviously he gets a lot of kicks, but he just looks fatigued. And Pepe it's cost whatever it costs, even if he cost 30 million and the rest was thievery and agents allegedly, whatever. He still should be able to play a home game against Leeds. He should have the skill sets required to do that. He should be able to break down defenses.
You definitely would hope or think that Pepe would play, because I would definitely start Pepe against Leeds, and then if you need to bring on Saka, then bring him on, and maybe take off Xhaka after 60 minutes and bring on Lokonga. Would you risk playing Tomiyasu the whole game?
No,
but like you said, he doesn't.
60 minutes.
But like you said, he doesn't seem to trust. Danny, if you are listening, can you tell me the last time Pepe was on the pitch? Because I can't remember. So he didn't play against Man United. Did he play against Brighton? Did he come against Brighton?
Did he come on against Brighton? No. Yeah, I think he's fairly certain he came against Brighton, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm sure he came on against Brighton.
And didn't he have an absolute shocker? Like he was absolutely awful. Or am I just misremembering that?
No, there was a game that we were ahead and he came on. I don't know if it was Aston Villa or something like that, or one of those games.
No, it's definitely it's definitely a home game. And he came on and he was awful. And it was terrible.
We're winning the game. He was good in the Wolves game. Oh, here we go. You've got it here. When last did Pepe play? Oh, there you go.
I mean, to be fair to Pepe, if he's not getting chances and he's not getting minutes, how can you get any bit of consistency and any bit of form?
I agree.
To be fair to him.
Yeah, it was Aston Villa away where he kept giving away free kicks, and he gave away that free kick they almost scored from.
So he lost against Southampton.
Yeah, it's absolutely awful. But he's playing look at the minutes that he's playing now. Even the you're saying he's playing. It's like the most minutes he's it's 21 minutes. I mean,
the thing is, you can't come in cold. That's why, you know, when Lokonga, Tavares, you know, first started against Crystal Palace, and he was, let's face it, he was absolutely shocking. If someone comes in cold and hasn't played, then what do you expect? Like, you can't expect someone to hit the ground running straight away. Like, you just can't do it. And like you said, those minutes, 15 minutes against Brentford, 19 minutes against Wolves, 17 minutes against Watford, like 5 minutes against Leicester, like that is not enough minutes. You need them
look
to...
Look at this, for example, Norwich. We had that Norwich game tied up so early on, didn't we? And he still only comes on for 12 minutes. Those are the types of games where you say, okay, you know what? That's why I said he needs to have a squad that he trusts. If he doesn't trust these players, whoever he doesn't trust just has to leave now. You know, to be honest, there's no point in saying, oh, we're 4-0 up after 60 minutes, and I'm still going to flog Saka until the 81st minute. What's the point of that? You know, you have to learn to rotate and rest, and that's something that we're going to have to improve on for next season, I think.
Do you guys think that Pepe's gone next season then?
Without a doubt. Look at these minutes. This isn't even. I mean, for himself he has to go, but let alone for us, there's no point in having a player that you're not going to use on the bench, and giving a player 12 to 15 minutes every now and then is nothing. I mean, that's what you give youth team players that you're trying to build up from the youth team.
But yeah, but that's what you'd rather do, in it. But like, if he's not gonna play, give him a starting role. I mean, yeah, like you said, like I think all three of us are in agreement that Pepe probably should start against Leeds to give Saka a rest, because I'd love Saka to get a full week's rest.
But I bet you any money, you and I, we all know it's not going to happen. When you see that team sheet, you know it's never going to happen. And I saw today that Mr. Waffles saying that they said they'll take 25 million for him. I saw today that Michael Elise has a 35 million release clause at Palace. I don't know, man. I know we've got a young team, but
in a heartbeat. I think if they said it, if that's true, if it's true, I'm telling you now, in a heartbeat, there should be minimum of about 6-7 clubs going for him. Oh, congratulations, Rangers! Like, they made it to the final. Well done. But I would literally, like, people should be. If Crystal Palace right now are not working on a new contract to take that release clause out of his contract, they are absolutely crazy. I would double his wages, just take that release clause out of the out of it. Like, would you take him, Richard?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, like you said, without even thinking about it, it would just be. You wouldn't even be able to finish the sentence. Would you like to take? Yes. I'll take him. Yep. Yeah, without a doubt. Like, because as you guys said, Pepe's not trusted, so almost anybody's kind of anybody that Arteta thinks that he trusts is a bit of an upgrade, because let's say he's not using him. You know, he's those minutes are not not helpful for anyone. As you say, not for the player, not for the club. So yeah, I would definitely take that swap in a heartbeat.
You know, in the corner of my eye, I'm watching the Rangers celebrations, and I'm like, I just want that. I want to be back in Europe so much, doing that, getting to the semi-finals, and all the celebrations we've seen in Europe this week. And I'm watching Rangers. Just the celebrations are insane.
Is that the Conference League, or is that the Europa?
No, you're Rangers in Europa,
which is crazy to think about. And they've played quite a lot of hard teams as well. Dortment and Leipzig. Yeah. Knocked out.
Giovanni Van Bronckhorst doing the business.
Up and down, yeah.
Big Wenger has done it again.
Mourinho in another final, they locked out.
And our Marseille
Leicester.
boys are out. I'm looking at Salim crying on the pitch right now. Guendouzi arguing with the referee.
Of course he is.
Shocker.
And these West Ham are out. Bastards, can't stand them. But yeah, back to Arsenal. So next season, I think, and I don't want to look too far to next season because we've still got some very hard games this season. But I think credit where credit is due to the whole squad, because I don't think anyone gave us a chance to be where we are right now. Like all these professional pundits, let's say, they all had us in like 8th and 7th and 6th. Like, so for us to be where we are, I think is just brilliant. And I think Arteta and, you know, to an extent Edu and even the Cronkies for giving them the money, you know, to spend 50 million on Ben White, to spend 20 odd million on Ramsdale. You know, we moan about, you know, the Cronkies not doing much for us, but, you know, we spent the most money in Europe in the summer, like without a shadow of a doubt. And Man United went and spent, look how much money Man United spent, and look where they are at the moment.
They spent it so badly, didn't they? They did what we did last season with, like, say, like Willian. You know, they had no direction for what, they had no clear plan of what they were doing. The only reason they bought Ronaldo is because they shit themselves because they thought he was going to Man City, and they just couldn't countenance, you know, this Man United legend going to City. That was the only reason they bought him. Whereas I think Arteta and Edu learnt from their previous mistakes and invested very, very well. Because that's it. I know, even though, like I say, we have our doubts over Tavares and stuff like that, you know, as I said at the top of the podcast, you know, at the start of the season, there were calls for, you know, there was concerns that Tierney wouldn't get back into the starting 11. You know, Tavares was doing so well, but, you know, all of them have come in and improved the team exponentially. Ramsdale, you know, game changer. Ben White, you know, you think of what we had last season? I've tried to block last season from my memory so many times, but like David Luiz giving away penalties left, right, and fucking centre. Excuse my language.
Yeah,
you know, Tomiyasu, who's just been, you know, apart from the set piece coach and the director of shithousery, he's been the signing of the season. He's been absolutely transformative. So we've spent it really, really well. So I'm, you know, hopefully, like I said, in the summer we'll be able to look at him there. We can. They've got their targets set out, and that's why they didn't want to buy anyone in January, and splash any panic buys in January, and just stay the course.
Yeah, and let's hope that, you know, it doesn't come back to bite us. I mean, like I said, Lacazette as our striker was not doing anything, and I think now the manager has had to sort of trust had to trust Eddie, because after I think the Southampton game, I think that's the game that kind of Arteta looked at the team and said, you know what, Lacazette can't do this. Like he doesn't bring anything to the team, and he's gonna go, and it is what it is. But for us, I think that we need to focus on definitely next season, whether we're going to be in Europe no matter what. So that's good. So whether we were in Champions League or whether we're in the UEFA Cup or Europa Cup, being back in Europe is such a big thing, and it draws players. I mean, being in Champions League gets you better players. Let's be honest, it really does. But being in Europe gets you players. One, I think there's going to be a lot of players available. You know, players that are at squads who want to get into their World Cup, and they've only got literally 3-4 months to make up their international manager's mind. So they're going to come in and play their hearts out to get into their World Cup squad. And I think that's going to be a bonus for us. It has to be. Like, it absolutely has to be a bonus for us to get players in who are going to play their hearts out to try and get into the World Cup squad. And I just think that for us can only be a good thing. What happens after the World Cup, we don't know. But, you know, every player's going to want to be in that shop window for the World Cup, and they're going to play their hearts out. So for me, it's going to be brilliant. Final words quickly on the West Ham game and also going forward to the Leeds game. Richard, do you think that we'll beat Leeds?
Yes, I do.
Femi?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very
You don't
confident.
sound confident, bruv. Like, I'm gonna keep it real.
You know what? It's just these silly games that those 3 games that we lost, just really, yeah. No, we'll win. We'll do it one way or another. We just need goals. I mean, Leeds are literally the kind of level that Eddie Nketiah will eat off of. You know,
He'll have a point to prove against them as well, won't he? Because they didn't really use him when he was there.
Yeah. So I think he can do well in that game. I'd probably stick with Martinelli for that game and go ESR for the Spurs game. So, but yeah, no, I think we can. It's just you know what it is with us. It's always goals, isn't it? Like, how do we score goals? Like once we get the first goal, or if we get the first goal, like Rich said, if we go ahead, we're usually a different prospect than if we go behind. But yeah, let's play. Let's just go full pelt. Yeah, so I think we can do it. Yeah.
That's good. Right, we're gonna do
Hang on a second. Karl, do you think we'll win?
Yes, I'll be at work again watching the game. Yeah, I think we'll win. I would love a tiny bit of squad rotation. I don't want Saka to start the game. I honestly really, really want Pepe to come in and score. I'd love to give Tomiyasu just to 60 minutes. I'd love to take Xhaka off for a little bit to rest him. Although that man's a machine, he can play 90 minutes every single week. But all these players, I'd love to just give a little bit of a rest. But I think we can beat them. I honestly do, and I think if we can go to that North London derby game 5 points ahead, I think the confidence, because Tottenham's heads will drop. If they lose and then they see us win, there's no doubt their heads are going to drop. I think maybe it's a bridge too far. And that, for me, is going to be brilliant. So, yeah, I'd love it. People, if you've got any questions, throw them into the chat and we'll do a few quick fire ones now. Richard, this is for you from Christian Anderson, who has been... so I just like to read it. Who has the most cunty-looking face out of Declan Rice and Jordan Pickford?
Looks-wise, I'd say Jordan Pickford. There's just something odd about that guy. There's something not right about him. But just for the sheer prickness over the weekend, I'm going to go Declan Rice. How dare he square up to out Eddie?
Just ridiculous. Femi from Phil Macker. Is Xhaka the most improved player the second half of this season?
Oh, you have to come to me to give Xhaka praise. Yeah, he's been good. I said the other day he's basically the captain of this team. There was a moment in the Man United game that wouldn't have been picked up on cameras that I think the ball went out of play. Someone was injured or something, and all the players were standing around. And Xhaka went to the touchline, and he grabbed about 4 water bottles, and he was handing out water bottles on the pitch and geeing up the players as he was handing them out. And I looked at it at that moment, and I said, you know what? I fully get why they voted him captain. You know, he's no nonsense to his own detriment sometimes, but he's improved on the pitch, and he's taken on a leadership role in terms of commanding for the ball. I think El Nenny's definitely helped him as well. The way that he plays, I think him and Lokonga just don't mesh at all. I probably would love to see their record together. I probably think Lokonga's been involved, unfortunately, in a lot of the losses that we've had. Probably not totally to the fault of his own, but no, Xhaka's he's been good. And like I said, I wouldn't object to him being captain next season. I know it's probably going to Martin Odegaard, but I wouldn't object to it. If he wants it, I think they should make him captain and Odegaard vice captain. Personally, now I think it's, you know, draw water on the bridge, and it's just a red card thing. And penalties thing, red card, and yeah, just those 2 little things, red cards and penalties. If it wasn't for that, but he hasn't. I was gonna say he hasn't done anything wrong since January.
But he did
The Man City game, he gave away a penalty, and the Liverpool game, he got sent off. So he's just Xhaka, isn't he?
I mean, Richard, if say a club, whoever it is, came in with a £25 million bid for Granit Xhaka, if you was in charge, are you taking that £25 million for Granit?
Yes, I would. Mainly because my friend Adam Corbett would kill me if I didn't, because he hates Xhaka. I would. I appreciate what Xhaka has been for us in the sense of this season, and Femi's right, he has improved, and he is, there's a reason why under, I think it's like 3 or 4 different managers, he always gets picked. He's always first person on the team sheet. He is the captain without the armband. But I think on the pitch, mobility wise, and we need to move on from him at some point. So yeah, if someone offered me 25 million for him, I would take it, because I think there are upgrades out there for a better footballer on the pitch than Granit Xhaka. And that's not me digging him out, because like I say, he has been decent, and he has his good things about his game. But yeah, no, to answer your question, I would take that 25 million.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think there are better players out there that we could get. Maybe not for 25 million, but there are players out there that we could definitely improve on. And like you said, Granit Xhaka, I think the things that he does off the pitch as well are brilliant for the players. It's just like Lacazette. I would love to keep Lacazette, but maybe not as a player, as like a motivator, because what he does for the younger players is brilliant. But he doesn't bring anything to the team, but on the pitch wise per se. We can't have our striker hanging around the halfway line for link-up play. That for me doesn't work.
We can make him part of the pit crew. He can have an office next to the director of shithousery.
I'd love him to do his coaching badges, because I think maybe not a coach, but just a motivator. But he wants to play, and the fact that he can go to France and probably get a game says a lot about that league as well. Which I think as we would as well, but just to go sideways step, the fact that Mbappe is staying in the French league, he clearly thinks that the Spanish league is too hard and wants an easy life in the French league. But I guess with the money that they're paying him, I would probably stay in the French league as well. Quick final one to both of you. Realistic, are we getting top 4 this season? Yes or no? Femi, are we getting top 4?
Yeah, why not? We'll wrap it up next Thursday. I told you. This time next Thursday, we'll be celebrating.
Holding you to that, don't get twisted.
Yeah,
cool.
We'll do it next Thursday.
Danny, you need to pin that. We need to get a tweet and pin that. Like Femi said, next Thursday, we're winning. We are wrapping top 4 up. Richard, are we wrapping it up next Thursday, or is it going a little bit further, or are we not taking top 4?
I'm with Femi. Yes, Femi.
Oh, wow.
We can do it.
Okay.
Yes, we can. Let's do it. Fuck them.
All right. I think we're going to get top 4. I don't think we're going to do it at White Hart Lane, sadly, but I do think we are definitely going to do top. Famous last words, but yeah, we're going to win top 4 because we deserve it. We have had that the last 2-3 years at Arsenal has been, it's been hard. It really has, and we deserve some enjoyment. We deserve something to be happy about, and to do top 4 and just for Tottenham to miss out because we got top 4 would make it that's just that little bit sweeter.
If we win the top 4, if we get top 4 at the Armitage Shanks Arena, forget the Emmy. Amazon are going to win an Oscar for this documentary.
And I will personally walk up to any Tottenham fan and shout out, "Keep Arsenal's name out of your mouth." And on that note, I'm going to say, Femi, much appreciated for coming on. Thank you.
Cheers, lads.
Richard, pleasure as always.
Thanks for having me, mate.
No worries. And everyone, we are going to do top 4. We've got Leeds on Sunday. I'm not too sure who's doing the post or pre-game show, but I'm sure Danny, if he hasn't stopped moaning, he'll come on and say, I've done too many shows. And it's your fucking podcast, Danny, so you fucking come on the show. Anyway, everyone in the chat, much appreciated. Low Key, Mr. Waffles, Avon, Phil Macker, all of you, much appreciated. The next, like I said, the next show will be on Sunday. I'm not too sure if we're going to do a podcast on Thursday because we're playing the game. So we might do one Friday or Saturday. Depends if Danny hasn't stopped moaning and he sorts it out. But anyway, thanks everyone and take care and see you later till next time.